What's going on, everybody? Anon here, and this is take two because I was interrupted right near the end of this the first time. Um, so we're gonna try this again. So I want to talk through some print runs, some allocations. We have a lot of good information on Mega Evolution 2 and all the ancillary products that have come after this. So for those of you who don't know, Mega Evolutions 1 is coming out in two waves. So 60% of all the SKUs, I believe, except for the single pack blisters, 60% are coming out at release date, and another 40% are coming out 3 weeks after the fact. Now, with Mega Evolutions 2, Phantasmal Flames, and all of the other ancillary products through year end, all the EX boxes, tins, things like that, they're coming out in waves of 50% and 50%. So actually less coming out at the release date, and then a little bit of an additional residual coming 3 to 4 weeks after the fact. Now, what I will tell you is for those of you who were hoping we're going to get a big dump of booster boxes on the market with Phantasmal Flames, you are going to be sadly mistaken because the number of booster boxes that have gone to distribution appears like it's actually down a little bit. Now, it's not a significant amount, but it is a slight reduction, at least from the distributors I've spoken to, versus Mega Evolutions 1. Now, to be fair, Mega Evolutions 2 is the smallest set we've had since Obsidian Flames. So we'll see what happens. Now, I will mention that the Elite Trainer boxes and the booster bundles appears like the supply is up a little bit. Call it 3 to 5%, maybe a little bit more than that, which is progress. And then the rest of the SKUs don't really matter that much. The 3-pack blisters are all going to go to big box stores. Now, it does look like the 144 count sleeved blister cases, or whatever they're called, looks like there's a little bit of additional supply coming to the market. And for those of you who don't know, we got a bunch of sleeved Journey Together cases through distribution over the last couple weeks. It appears that they were earmarked for big box stores. Now, as everybody knows, Journey Together came out on fire, and it's really slowed down. Hasn't been a great seller, even though the price kind of has stayed up there. But I'm guessing the big box stores just didn't want to take anymore because they're not moving it, and items went through distribution. So this is really the first instance in a while where we've seen distribution or big box presumably say, thanks, but no thanks. We can't sell all of this one product, so we'll push it back through distribution. And the pricing on these is it's original distribution price. It's not inflated or anything, which tells me that it's a product that didn't move, which is really, really good to see. So moving on, I want to talk about some of the ancillary products. Now, the first two products, which aren't on here, are the Latias EX box, which is a 4-pack special. Really the same setup as the Mega Kangaskhan, which is a December 5th release, and the Salamence and Reshiram EX box. Now, the Salamence and Reshiram EX box are 10-pack, 5 Surging, 5 Destin. It is the same configuration as the Masks of Ogerpon that came out a couple months ago. That was 5 Temporal and 5 Twilight Masquerade, I believe. And they are just pumping these things out. And one of the things I do want to mention is with the Phantasmal Flames quantities coming through, the Elite Trainer boxes and the booster bundles are the two SKUs where it does look like they have been able to open up a little bit of additional capacity. As we've seen with Twilight Masquerade and Surging Sparks, we are starting to get ETB reprints for the first time in like 12 months, 18 months, I guess. Presumably, we've gotten some as well for Prismatic Evolutions, even though everything's gone big box. Nobody's seen the stickers on the case. So it's good to see we're getting some ancillary product there. So with the Reshiram, Salamence and Reshiram box, these are LGS exclusives. And there are a lot of these coming out. It's the first item in probably over a year where we've gotten our full allocation from one of our distributors for that item. And, it's great to see. They are big, they're bulky, but they do have some absolute home run packs in there. So if you have the space, they're great to sit on. They're going to come out, I think, the 10th of October, and they're going to be everywhere for about 3 seconds, and then they're going to dry up. The same with the Latias EX box. That has like a cool, I guess it's like a sport flick, sort of, kind of, if you guys get the reference from the late 80s or 90s promo, where as you shift it, you get this, the card angle changes and the image on the card changes, which is a cool idea. But there are a lot of both of those coming out, and we're going to see this is consistent across all of the EX box SKUs. And I'm going to call them EX boxes because once we get to like the UPC and the premium figure collection, I'll talk about those separately. So moving on, the trainer toolkit and the Mega Battle Deck. The trainer toolkit, we got a lot of. I think it's more around the fact that, and I think there's 4 or 5 packs in there. I think there's 5 packs in there. I think it's more around the fact that they're bulky to store. They've never really sold well, although right now they're going to sell and there's decent value. The Mega Gengar and Diancie decks, it looks like there's approximately the same amount of product of those as there were for the Steven and Marty decks. For those of you who don't know, the Marty promo is like $50 now, which is more than the $14.99 MSRP of the deck. So the common thought is that the Gengar promo, now it's not Gengar, it's like Haunter or something like that. I don't even know. Ghastly, something like that. Some lower level version is going to be worth more than what the box itself is. Now, we've only gotten probably 15 to 20 cases of these, so it was really tightly allocated. The Mewtwo EX Battle Deck, I don't think there's anything special about these. I don't know how well they're going to move. We asked for a bunch. We took everything that we got. These were not as tightly allocated. And quite honestly, I think it's because, generally speaking, there wasn't a whole lot of demand for it because it doesn't look like there's anything unique in there. And you know, I could be wrong, but I don't think so. So let's move on to the good stuff. The Mega Lucario EX figure collection. We've gotten the first couple allocations of these, and there's a healthy chunk. Now, there aren't nearly as many as there were like the Salamence Reshiram or the Latias EX box, but there are more of these than there were of the Super Premium collection. And again, it's a little bit apples to oranges with configuration, but there is a healthy amount of these figure collections. Quite honestly, a good amount more than what there were for the Prismatic figure collection that comes out at some point here shortly. In fact, that's probably in 2 weeks. So we will save the Mega Charizard XEX for last. Mega Venusaur, Mega Kangaskhan, almost identical production runs to what we saw with the Latias EX box. So the Latias EX box was probably 25% less than what the Salamence and Reshiram were, but that's only because the Salamence and Reshiram were, at least in my opinion, were LGS or were store exclusives. The allocations for these, I would imagine it's going to be pretty healthy on both of these, quite honestly. The other thing I do want to point out is you have those two. You have the Pokeball tin, and the Fall Collector Chest. They'll have a release date after Thanksgiving, which is the first time. I know last year they didn't do anything after Thanksgiving. In fact, you actually have the Build and Battle case coming after Thanksgiving as well. I think that's actually Black Friday, the 28th. So it's really unique this year because normally the November set comes out and then the Pokemon company just shuts everything down. That's not going to happen this year, especially since all of these items are coming out in phases, and the second wave of these are all coming 3 weeks after. So presumably the week between Christmas and New Year's, which I have a hard time believing that's going to happen. And even if it does, it's going to be a little bit of a shit show. So the Pokeball tins, the Fall Collector's Chest. The Fall Collector's Chest, there's a lot of these. You know, from what I can tell, it's about the same amount as the EX boxes. Probably 75,000 plus, if not 100,000 plus across all of distribution, maybe a little bit more. I don't know what the packs are going to be, but presumably it'll be Mega 1, Mega 2, maybe some Destined. And then with Pokemon, the Pokeball tins, these are a little bit lighter of a print run, but from what I can tell, we are getting a good chunk of these. Now, this allocation seems to be similar to the Lucario premium figure collection. And quite honestly, it is different materials. They're just reusing some of the plastic Pokeballs. Again, there's 3 packs in each. I don't know what the packs are, but the price from distribution for these was like between $310 and $350 a pack. So you can't really go wrong. So that brings us to the reason why you guys are all here. The Mega Charizard EX Ultra Premium Collection. So I did a little video on this before and touched on this. They've been printing this since April. And they've been printing this heavy, which they should, because if they didn't print this heavy, it's going to be a $500 box out of the gate for something that's cost $75 from distro. But it has the 18 packs, and it looks like it's 2 Surging and then 4 of everything else up through Mega Evolutions 2 of the regular sets. And it also has 2 promos. So it has a Mega Charizard promo, and I forget what the other one is. Let me check here, just so I don't leave you guys hanging, because I know it's in the description here. The Oricorio, which I don't believe has been spoiled yet. You can see the packs: 4 Phantasmal, 4 Mega, 4 Destined, 4 Journey, and 2 Surging Sparks. But the supply of these is approximately 3 times what it was for the Super Premium Collection. When we talk allocations for these, instead of talking boxes, it seems like the conversation has moved to cases, which is really, really, really good to see. There's going to be a lot of these. They're going to get eaten up very, very quickly. And this is just the amount that is going to distribution. I'm sure these are going to be all over the place in big box stores. So, if we're seeing 3 times the supply in distribution, they're going to be everywhere, which quite honestly is great, because it's going to be like the 151 UPC, and it'll be everywhere until it's not, and then everything's going to go nuts. So hopefully this was helpful. Feel free to ask any questions in the comment section. I'll answer them if I can. But like the video, subscribe to the channel, join the Discord. We do run sales in the Discord, but there are a lot of smart people there that have a lot of intelligent things to say, which is tough to find in today's day and age. So anyway, guys, have a good Friday night, and we'll talk soon.